Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of, oh god, it's been a really long time, hasn't it? Oh gee. I know, 4 months since my last upload is kind of crazy, but I've been busy being like an adult and stuff. You guys know how it is. Honestly, I just haven't really had anything I wanted to talk about, but recently I finally found the motivation and the thing to discuss. So here we are. I guess it's time to get Zortched. So play the title card or whatever. I don't really know if I'm being completely honest. I'm doing like a new thing where it's not as scripted anymore, so it feels more real. And also the way that I'm gonna do it, it's not gonna really work as well with like a laid out script. You'll see. So to start our very weird journey, I decided to play on the hard difficulty, which is called Dominator. Um, I kind of wish I picked Subjugator because while Dominator is kind of hard, it also feels like a little bit too easy. Like there are certain points in the game where it's kind of hard because it throws a lot of enemies at you, but after like 3 tries, you'll do just fine, so I wouldn't worry about picking a harder skill. Now after this, you wake up and the game is like giving you helpful tips. It's giving you the tools that you need to figure out what's actually going on, and you get this wrench. And it's pretty good. I mean, it's not a bad melee weapon at all, but I didn't really use it. You see, for literally every single other weapon in the game, it has some viable strategy to it, something that you can use for it. The shotgun, which we'll get to because it's the first like actual gun you get, is amazing and it's useful for literally every single situation. The SMG, which has a scope on it, is really nice for long range enemies because sometimes them fuckers are just way too far away. The flamethrower is really good for groups of enemies, and so is the grenade launcher. I use the grenade launcher more than the flamethrower, but both are actually just as good as each other, so I don't know, you pick. What I'm trying to say is the game just makes sense right now because it's trying to tell you its story while also showing you how to play the game. What it doesn't tell you is that you can jump higher by kicking off the ground while jumping. You have to do it like right after you do it. Like it's like almost precise you need to do it, but you get the hang of it and it becomes easier as the game goes on. And using this, you can get to a lot of secrets, which is very cool because not a lot of games would do that. It's pretty nice. Now, I kind of find it a little redundant to just go through the game level by level and tell you exactly what happened because you could watch someone way more entertaining do that. Now, what I want to do is just talk about a game that I like. So, I'm just gonna pick and choose. I'm not gonna go over every single level in excruciating detail. If you want that, while it's not excruciating detail, I guess go watch Civ11's video on this. It's going to be way better than mine, I can promise. One thing that I do want to talk about are the weapons in this game, and that is because they are some of the greatest feeling weapons of all time. I mean, I absolutely love every single one of them, except for the wrench. Not that it's bad, it's just a melee weapon. You can throw it, but it's not as good as just using the shotgun because you never run out of ammo. Even on the hardest skill, it's very hard to run out of ammo for all of these weapons. I think I may have done it a few times. I might put it up on screen if I find it, but honestly, I don't really remember ever running out of ammo that much. I think I might have during the first level, but that's just because it's the first level. But after that, you kind of just never run out of ammo ever again. And that's really helped because when you do run out of ammo, the very few times that you do, you get to use the dynamite. Now if you're thinking, is this like Blood's dynamite? It's not that good. It's not Blood's dynamite, but it doesn't need to be. Because if it was, that would be kind of boring. Just go play Blood then. What it is good though. It's just dynamite. You throw it, it blows up. You use a little button to blow it up. It's pretty cool. It's good for if you don't want to waste ammos on very spongy enemies, because there sure is a lot of them in this game sometimes. And I just don't want to waste like 30 shotgun shells trying to kill one of them when I could just throw a single bundle of dynamite and kill them instantly, you know? It's really nice because a lot of the games don't have good weapons for all of it. I mean, this game has good weapons for all of it. Every single weapon you get is useful at some point or another because all of them are powerful in their own right. Again, I think it would be redundant if I went over every single detail in this game, but I already listed some of my favorites earlier, you know, with the shotgun and stuff like that. But another one of my favorites is the pistol that you get, which you get pretty late actually. You don't even start with the pistol. It has this homing attack that usually just finds the nearest enemy, and it's really good for this one specific enemy that breaks off into little smaller balls because it's like a giant ball of eyes. It's weird and it's annoying, but the pistol helps a lot because it just locks on to the little balls and kills them, so you can just fire it in its general direction. And it's a lot more fun than wasting like 40 shotgun shells. I do like these levels a lot. I think my only complaint with them is that there's this one level that's really confusing. I spent like a long time in it. I might look to see exactly how long I spent in it, but it was like 30 minutes. Specifically because it wasn't really clear what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to blow up this boulder, but I didn't know that. I didn't even know it was destructible, so I kept going into a vent that was near the boulder, but it was blocked off on the inside because you had to destroy the power source like you do in so many other levels. But it's not as obvious what you should do in this one, so I had to look up a tutorial. But that was the only time I had to do that. As for every other level in this game, they're really good. I mean, there's not really very much to complain about exactly because all the rest of the levels in the game is just, they're just good. They're fun. They're not that confusing. I mean, sometimes I got a little confused on where I was supposed to go because they hide your objectives sometimes and don't really make it that obvious what you're supposed to do. So there were some times where I would just circle a level over and over again trying to figure out what the fuck was going on, but you know, it wasn't that often. It's okay. It's alright. I love you anyways, Zorch. There's not really much to say about the levels other than that they are good and they work really well, especially with the art style, which is obviously very unique. And this game is a combination of early 2000 shooters, Duke Nukem, and Doom. So it all just ends up working out, and if it makes you frustrated, well, those games make me frustrated too, so it's okay. Okay, so there's a problem with talking about the story because there is no wiki. So the story is literally just what's in the game, and there's not a whole lot to go off inside the actual video game. Not that there's literally nothing, it's just that there's not really any cutscenes except for the ending, which are just still frames with text on them. So you don't really get any story until the end of the game. And I mean, I guess there's the question marks and stuff, but that's more just little tidbits of lore and helpful hints. They're cool, don't get me wrong, it's a very cool way to tell a story, but it's also like, I want more, and also I'm making a YouTube video, so I need more. So instead of pretending to tell you like I know anything, I'm just gonna read you the Steam store page bio of it because that's the best I can give you. Meet Zortchmania, short order cook, amateur engineer, and professional slacker. Bored and tired of her day job, she decides to go on a holiday, but alas, she picks a cheap option. Turns out, it's a scheme by aliens who capture humans to eat their brains. Also, this game is a sci-fi horror comedy FPS. That is pretty much all you get story-wise. It's just the bio. They don't tell you that in the video game. I actually forgot that was the story until just now after reading it. That doesn't mean the game's not fun, because it definitely is. It's a very fun video game. The issue is there isn't a whole lot of story to go along with it, but I really like story in video games. I think sometimes story goes over gameplay if it's good enough. I mean, Red Dead Redemption 2, for example, that game's story is better than its actual gameplay, and a lot of people recognize that because the actual gameplay is very realistic. Not that it's bad, because it's not bad, it's still fun to play, it's just more interesting story-wise over gameplay, even though both are very good. But here, the gameplay is front and center, and it's very reminiscent of, old 2000s games that just barely had a story and really only told you in the description of the game itself. And I think that's really cool, but this game did come out in 2023, so I don't know. I think you could take that interesting concept and do a lot more with it. So that's why I'm going to start a petition for Zorch 2, Zortchmania. I'm not actually going to do that. Don't don't quote me on that, please. I'm not doing that. I feel like that's a really bad idea. If I'm being completely honest, there isn't very much to talk about other than that, because those are the main points of this game. It's shooty shooty fun bang bang gun game. That's literally what it is. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, because I love this game. It's actually so much fun. I mean, it's a game that I will keep coming back to whenever I get bored and just play it on the hardest skill every single time. Again, I think it's important that you play this on like Subjugator or something like that, because it's a lot more fun the harder it is, and I feel like I played it on too much of an easy mode, and I think that detracted from the experience a little bit. I feel like this is the kind of game where you're supposed to die a lot more, and I died, that's for sure, but I feel like I didn't die as much as the game wanted me to. And honestly, I think that can be really important to this specific type of game, because it's meant to be an old, hard FPS game. So play it on the hardest difficulty. Well, maybe not the hardest, but the second hardest, because the hardest one makes enemies respawn, and you probably don't want to deal with that on a first playthrough. So play on the one that's the hardest, but the enemies don't respawn, because that's a difficulty, and it's really cool that they do that. At the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is that you should play Zorch, because it's just a fun game. It's just really fun and creative and cool and awesome, and you should just buy it because it's like $5. It's worth your money. You get a bunch of hours. Theoretically, it's only like 3 hours long technically, but you get a lot out of this game that you could play around with, do challenge runs, just have fun in general, because that's the point of it. It's just a short but sweet video game, and I love it for that. So if you enjoy games like that, please check out Zorch. It's really cool. I just wanted to take this time at the end of the video to thank anyone who was patiently waiting for me to upload. I know there probably isn't that many people out there doing that, but I just want to say, if you were, I appreciate you for waiting. This took me so long because I kind of got into a burnout state with making YouTube videos, and because of that, I didn't really do anything YouTube-wise for a while. But now I'm back, and I think I'm going to talk about more games as I play them. Not Doom 2, though, because I've been playing that, and it makes me want to rip my hair out. Sorry I couldn't talk about the enemies, by the way, just because I don't have any information about them. So I don't want to just say things that are not true, but just so you know, really basic enemies. There's not very much going on with them, other than, like, there's a flamethrower guy. That's pretty much it, though. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys later.